Hi everyone, Animal Girl here, back with another edition of TV Talk. It's Tuesday, and that means it's Star Wars Day. And this week's episode of the Clone Wars was Ghosts of Mortis. Following the events of Altar of Mortis, the balance of power on the small planet of Mortis has shifted. And Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Ahsoka Tano are more desperate than ever to get off the planet and return to the Jedi Temple. However, with things the way they are, they know that they have to find some way to restore the balance on this very unique planet before they leave. Okay. Things I liked about this episode. We actually see the final conflict between the three Force spirits. Now, this is the final episode in the arc of what I like to call the Mortis arc, because it all takes place on the planet Mortis, or majority of it takes place on the planet Mortis. And I feel, or I at least believe, that if the events on Mortis hadn't played out the way they did, then maybe things on the things that happened in Revenge of the Sith might have been different. And I don't want to give a... Secondly, I like the fact that it introduces the notion of the Gray Jedi. Now, for those of you who are not as immersed in the Star Wars lore or universe as some of the other fans, a Gray Jedi is a Jedi who basically walks the line between the light side and the dark side of the Force. That's about the best way I can explain it. They're not affiliated with the Jedi Knights, but they're also not affiliated with the Sith Lords. They're a Force user that's kind of in that neutral or gray area in between. And I know what you're thinking. It's like, well, wait a minute. We didn't see any Gray Jedi in this episode. We just saw Jedi. Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Ahsoka Tano. And yes, you're right. There were no Gray Jedis in this episode. I didn't say that it introduced a Gray Jedi in this episode. I said it introduced the notion of a Gray Jedi. And that is... introduced through the three Force beings. Now, if you remember back on my video on the Overlords, which was about 2 videos ago, you will remember that I mentioned that there were 3 Force beings. There was the daughter, who represented the light side of the Force, and there was the son, who represented the dark side of the Force. And then there was the father, who is the neutral point between his 2 children. And he's the one that introduces the notion of the Gray Jedi. Now, I'm not saying he actually comes out and says anything about the Gray Jedi, but it's his presence within the Star Wars universe that opens the door for consideration for the Gray Jedi. And trust me, we will talk a little bit more about Gray Jedi as they become a little more apparent in the storyline, but that will not be until Rebels, I believe. I don't think we get into any Gray Jedi in Clone Wars other than this arc. Now, for those of you who liked the 3 Force beings, don't worry. We will be seeing some forms of them later on in the franchise. So they are not completely gone from the franchise forever. We will be seeing them in some form or another later on down the line. So be patient, and we will talk about that later on. Okay, things I didn't like about this episode. there really wasn't anything I didn't like about this episode. I thought it was very, very good. It was a side episode, and by side episode, I mean it really doesn't contribute to the overall storyline of what's going on within the universe. It doesn't have anything to do with the Clone Wars or the fight against the Separatists or the droid army, but it does give us a peek into Jedi or Force lore. Not so much Jedi lore, but Force lore. And I did like that. And again, it does introduce the notion of the fact that the Force is not as black and white as we think it is, with the light side and the dark side, and that there is a neutral ground in it. And a little fun fact, something you're going to want to file away for later, as it will pop up later on down in the franchise. The name, or the ancient Jedi name, for the neutral side of the Force was Bendu. And yes, we will come back to that later in the series. Not so much in this series, but it will pop up later on in the franchise. So you will want to file that away for later. We will come back to it. Now, I do not remember the name for the ancient Jedi name for the dark side of the Force. I did actually hear it in a video. I just can't remember what it is. But the light side of the Force is, I believe, called Ashla. I might be mispronouncing it. So it is actually spelled Ashla. That is the name, ancient Jedi name for the light side of the Force. And another fun fact, that is the pseudonym that Ahsoka takes in the Ahsoka Tano novel that takes place after Revenge of the Sith. Okay, question of the week. I basically stated earlier on in this video that I believe the events of this arc actually influenced the events of Revenge of the Sith. So my question for you guys is, do you think I'm right in that the events of this arc did in fact influence the events of Revenge of the Sith? Or do you think I'm wrong and what happened in Revenge of the Sith would have happened whether or not we actually had this arc in the first place? Please leave your answers in the comment section. Also, feel free to leave your comments and questions in the comment section. I do love to read those. And please like and share this video if you're watching it on Facebook, and like and subscribe if you are watching on YouTube. Also, feel free to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, and DeviantArt. I do have my name for those 4 sites right there on the screen, as well as the pictures I use for the icons. Please note, all pictures seen within this video belong to their respective artists. I own absolutely nothing. Okay, quick reminder on my comment rules. Okay, feel free to check out my related Star Wars videos. my other TV Talk Star Wars videos. My other TV Talk videos. And my other videos. Okay, before I sign off, one thing I'd like to touch on, and that is to please note that there will be a dual posting for 3 of my TV Talk videos. Star Wars, obviously, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and DreamWorks Dragons will be posted both to my Facebook page and my YouTube channel. All my other TV Talk videos will be posted strictly to my Facebook page at this point in time. If you'd like to check out any of those videos, or the backlogged videos of Star Wars, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and DreamWorks Dragons, you can feel free to check them out on my Facebook page. I will have the link in the description section. As always, thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you.